You know what we're talking about.
Okay, hello. Oh wait, I got to be
Hey,
quiet.
we had it. Settle your horses. Now we're live.
We're live. Hello.
Good morning.
Always chaotic when like people have these really cool beginnings, and I'm like, hello, hello, and they're like, shut up, man.
Relax, bro.
My bad. My
Jeez.
bad.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thanks for joining us again today for another live Q&A session here on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela, and today I have with me
Anthony. My
and
name is Anthony, I believe.
and you
I've heard
believe
it said.
Anthony Pica.
I've heard it said.
And both of our channels are dedicated to the new and upcoming voice actor. I've heard you say it many times. And audiobook
Yes.
narrator. And we usually start
Mm.
the session with a poll because it kind of gives me and now Anthony sort of an idea of what the hot button is for the viewership. And today's poll is, what concerns you most about voiceover in 2026? Because today we're talking about, is VO still worth it in 2026? Because that is a big hot button with a lot of people wanting to get into voice acting, and they're concerned that AI is just too prevalent, too everywhere, is taking up all the jobs. And you and I both, Anthony, we both know that that isn't true. It's more or less the landscape is changing, and we'll get into some of these. And if you have questions or concerns, this is your opportunity to pick our brains, to get maybe a little bit of confirmation, a little bit of reassurance, maybe a little bit of, get those questions answered. But anyway, back to the poll. See, tangent already. Okay, so none of you said you're concerned with AI replacing voice actors. I have to say I'm very
Where do you
proud
see
of
the
you.
poll? Is there a poll? Can I see the poll?
If you look at YouTube, if you look at us on my YouTube channel, you can see the poll.
Okay.
But so far, nobody. There's 18 votes so far, and nobody is concerned with AI replacing voice actors. So for that, I say I'm
Well, I
proud
think
of you.
we've been through the fire.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean. We were through the. It's the end of the. It's the end of the world. We've been through that, and we're so we know it's not replacing voice. It's not ending what we do.
71% of you said finding consistent paid work, so that's the hot button. 5% of you said you're concerned about low rates and competition. And 22% of you said knowing how to adapt. And there was just a comment over on Instagram that said, it's true for us new people. For you guys, you are already established. Now, we're going to get into...
I love Angela. Isn't that amazing? That's wonderful. I giggle not because it's not an incredibly valid question, but I giggle because I remember very specifically in 2018, it was about maybe 6 to 8 months after I started my personal voiceover journey, that I wanted to start my own podcast and talk about a journey of a voice actor who hadn't made it, because everyone out there who was talking were from voice actors who had already made it. And that's where if you back listen to Vio's Journey podcast, and earlier, that was the whole point of that podcast, because I thought at the time, what would it be like to hear from voice actors who had not made it, who were, going through. So I giggle and I laugh, and good and fair and and fun, because
We were there.
And it's an interesting thing to it's some of these questions, like all y'all's questions today, we had them when we started. They don't it seems like those are always our questions. Anyway, so that was a great question. That was a good thing to say, but I laugh because I remember thinking that very same thing.
Yes, in no way is there any kind of fun poked or any, because the comparisonitis is, I think everyone experiences that, the comparisonitis, because we're comparing apples to oranges, basically. And now that we have AI inserted into the mix, I can understand the concern. I do. But what we're going to talk about today is what we need to focus on,
Mm-hmm.
because it's gone are the days where you could just put up a Fiverr profile and make some money in voiceover. Gone are the days where it was just like, the bounty of ease, is pretty much gone, because not everybody can make it in this industry if they don't put in the work. There is now work. I mean, I'm not saying that there never was, but more work, because I think and I'm going to jump
I
right
don't
to
know. I think it's different work personally.
well, yeah, but let me just finish my point.
Okay.
Because I think it's not just having a great voice. I mean, it never really was. It's not just about having a great voice. You have to understand subtext. You have to understand story. You have to be a good storyteller, which I've always said. But as human voice actors, we need to make sure that we understand that we have a firm grasp on script interpretation, emotional subtext, making instinctive acting choices. I mean, there's a lot more acting that we need to focus on, I think, than just. I mean, it never really was. I think. Am I talking in circles? Are you guys understanding me?
No. I understand exactly what you said. Ryan said something too, just in the chat about is I think of those of VOJ are not as worried about AI because you guys have done so much to calm our nerves and fears about it. I will say that now more than ever, I do think it's important that we take the matters into our own hands. And I think that was kind of the Fiverr argument early on. These websites came out and they were like, even though the Voice 123 and Voices and those things had been out for a while, but they were still websites that still relied heavily on the amount of work you put into them. Right. And those websites still exist. And there's a lot of people getting a lot of work through those websites. That has not changed. But sites like Fiverr and Upwork, when they came out, there was a new type of opportunity in the sense where, they were pushing a lot of media dollars to drive traffic. And the reality is, and I want to point this out to everybody, this has not changed. What's changed is Fiverr and Upwork have moved those media dollars to something else. That's the reality. I work with students who get a crap ton of work still through Fiverr, but that's because they're still on the front page or the front one or two pages. There's not as much, and there's 10 times or more, 100 times more voice actors on there than when we started, right? And every site ends up happening, where there's more. So I think now. I see so much happening in different areas. You know what I mean? And the really big reason why I started Academy Voices, and I'll be over, I started Academy Voices in the end because I was tired. I was tired of seeing amazing voice actors who were incredible, just not getting work. I was tired of waiting for somebody to come and be like, I'm gonna hire you. So I'm like, we'll do it ourselves. And why not? And we can sell our work just as well as anybody else. Sorry, I know I'm going on about Academy Voices, but that was a big thing for Academy Voices for me and us, you know what I mean? And Angela and I've had countless conversations about the benefits of it, the safety of it. But yeah, so stop me, Angela, because I'll just talk on and on about that.
Well, I think the main point that I was trying to make, because the main concern is finding consistent work. I think it's not so much where we could just put up a gig and have work come to us.
Right.
There's more work that we need to do. There's more human connections that need to be made in direct marketing and making yourself visible. But at the same time, making sure that, unlike me, you get training sooner. Get training sooner, because those are the things that I mentioned before, the understanding subtext, getting the correct emotions across appropriately in a way that the listener can recognize the emotion. I mean, all the things that you guys were talking about yesterday in your live. You know, it's the little things, the little human nuances that set us apart and that AI cannot do.
Yeah, and I am a firm believer, and I will always go to my grave believing this, whether it's live on stage, on screen, or voice acting. Good acting separates itself from mediocre acting. It really
Mhm.
does. People will bend over backwards to get good actors. They will. They will. Now, does that mean if you're not getting work, you're not a good actor? Hmm, maybe, but it also could mean too that you're not putting yourself in the right places. So that's where it also comes down to marketing. And I used to say early on, right, is that, you could be as good as anyone, but if no one knows you exist,
Right.
you're not going to get any work.
Right.
So then the question goes, where do we go? Where is the work, to get this consistent bookings? Okay. And I early on I had put together a kind of 3-step process for, finding consistent work. And the process that I put together was not a theory. It was what I did to go full time as a voice actor, and what I've taught a lot of people to do. And I've thought about it over time now, where we are in 2026, and I ask myself, is it still viable? So basically the process goes like this, right? When you're first starting yourself, so you have your 3-step marketing process, but this process assumes that you've already set up your studio, you have your equipment, everything's ready to go. Because if you don't have that stuff, then the
Mhm.
rest of this stuff is, you're not really ready to start marketing your services if you're not ready to start marketing your services.
Yeah.
So we're ready to market our services. So the first things I always recommend would be is that, hands down, we still have Fiverr, we still have Upwork, we've got Voices, we've got Voice Jungle, we've got Voice Realm, we've got Voclin, we've got Voice 123, we've got Academy Voices, we've got so many different platforms that are out there, right? Some are free, some cost very little, some cost a lot, some are variety of different ways to get on them, but there's no reason not to be on all these platforms. You should be on as many platforms as you can be on,
Hmm.
right? With uploaded as many samples as you can put on there, with a good profile, good pictures. That's your first phase. Get on all of these things. And the reason being is because they are spending money, they are promoting you, they have a system set up, they have trust set up. So there's no reason not to be on that. You're starting to build your web of marketing. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing I would recommend would be starting your website. Now, some people differ from this. And remember, there's no right or wrong reason to do all of this. It's just what some people think the progression is. But I always said do your website second and not first, because most of us, when we first started, we have nothing. We don't have any, we have very little. We don't have any work under our belt. We don't have a lot to put. So building a whole website, and God forbid you don't know how to build a website, right? You're gonna have to either pay someone, or you put together a website and it looks like junk, right? That causes a lot of stress and turmoil. So but we start putting together your website, we start getting you up on there, which then allows us to start getting to the third part, which is more of our personal promotion, like through social media and through, email is one of those things where I'll be all open with you. I have tried for years. I've tried campaign after campaign after campaign, and email has always um, excuse me, cold email has always let me down. Warm email is incredible. It still is. But cold email, meaning like using email to reach out to somebody before they know you.
Hmm.
Because now the cold email is way better through socials.
Yeah.
Social media is way better. DMs and stuff is way better for that. But even with DMs, right, you want to make sure you're you're doing it in a manner in which they're at least interested in your subject, whatever you're talking about.
Hmm.
So through that, right, so now you've got these 3 different areas. Okay, and you've got websites over here that you're on, you've got your own website with its own SEO, all right, that hopefully you're adding to, and you're continuing to update it. Then we have our social media, where we are building awareness, right? And I tell you this now, it's easier than ever. I have been, and Angela, I don't know how you feel about this, but I've always been apprehensive about ads. I've built an entire business. Let me rephrase. Angela and I have built businesses now, business together. We build it all pretty much through no ads. However, more recently, with the ease of ads, I'm starting to find that I like ads. Ads are my friend. Okay. And honestly, that was from Angela pushing me to do more ad like things, not because of I think any other reason other than sometimes, guys, whenever a pendulum swings one way, it's got to swing the other. We went through this whole phase of no selling. We don't sell. We don't say, hey, go here and check this out. We don't do this. But when you don't do that, sometimes people are just like, dude, what is it that you want from me? I mean, seriously, like another, like, do you have it? Seriously. So Angela's like, just tell people we need more people or something. I'm like, really? No, Angela, no. So we do that, and guess what? It works. So I think that sometimes, these things are not bad. They actually can work very well. So yeah, so that was the overall idea and 3-part process, and it has worked. Inevitably, you'll get people, you're going to get questions on every step of the way, which is what part of VO Journey Academy is about, helping you. Inevitably, you might find one that works very well. Like early on for Angela and I, there was always people who had either you were successful on Fiverr or you were successful on Upwork. Very rarely were you successful on both. And I don't know why, but it was one or the other. Yeah. And, and sometimes people were very happy to stop there. God bless those people. I remember the time when people were doing, well, I just don't need to do anything but Fiverr. And I was like, I don't think it's always going to be like this. I remember years ago thinking, I mean, can't always be like this, at least.
Right.
So, but yeah, so that's that. Questions?
Questions? Just to add,
I throw it all on you. I just threw it out there to you. There you
go. Just to piggyback off of and clarify some of the things. When Anthony was talking about getting on all the platforms, all the pay to plays, for those of you that are brand new to this, the sites like Voice 123 voices.com, most of those places will allow you to have a free profile where you don't have to pay anything, but you cannot audition unless you're a paying member. So you would have to rely on a client finding you. So to that effect, get onto every platform that you can that will allow you to. It's up to you if you want to pay the membership fee to be able to audition or not. But that's what just to elaborate on what he meant by that.
Yeah, and thank you for that. And I want to point out too that this is a journey.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we all recognize it early on, and I mean, heck, I even called my whole thing a journey, right?
Because it
is
journey.
A whole journey.
Yep.
And meaning that, you're not going to start, I think as teachers or educators always try to put things in a format or a way that you can see a bigger picture of something, right? But when you're going through it step by step, each step takes a lot of time, and it might, it's not like you just one day sign up for everything. It takes time. And also, I think it's also important to note that you also will have something else that I didn't talk about, and that is your own personal requirements of life, right? Most of you probably are working a full-time job. Angela and I, when we started this, we worked full-time jobs. We still have kids, but we had kids, younger kids at the time, right? I mean, responsibility. There was a lot going on in our lives that was not just voiceover. Voiceover was not the main thing, really. And so, I know for me, it was a nightly thing. It was like 10 p.m. to 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. Every day I would put up my hobo fort and take it down every day. I never left it up because the way our house was, it was so small. If I left it up, you couldn't get to the kitchen. So like I literally, I'd put it up and take it down every single day. And and at 1 a.m. in the morning, no one's contacting me for a commercial voiceover. So what I ended up realizing was audiobooks was a very good place for me to be at, and the time frames I could do. You know what I mean? And what I could do at the time. As time went on, that changed because my schedule had changed. But there's all of these challenges that we face, and as business owners, it is part of our job to figure them out and get help to
Yeah.
figure them out. The positive thing is between Angela and I mean, we did not just randomly, wake up one day and we're full-time voice actors.
Right.
I mean, we did go through the process. We worked full-time jobs. We started this business on the side, built it up from nothing, and was able to do it. And I know all of you can do it too.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. There you go.
And those are all the things that we teach and share and guide in a VO's Journey Academy. So there was a question about where to get training. We have a voiceover academy where we go through marketing, we go through performance, acting 101, improv, we go through your website design, audiobooks. I mean, we cover pretty much A to Z. And not only that, but then we have Academy Voices where you can find work as well, all under one umbrella.
And that's the whole point of this is for you to, be booking work, for you to be getting work, whether it's just a little bit of work at the start, more work down the road, but to have work and to be part of a community to where you're in a place, just like Ryan had pointed out, that, he wasn't worried about some of that stuff, because being a part of our community, I mean, we are a team, and we are, I think we're got an amazing group of people that help each other. And because of Academy Voices, right, and the growth that we're having, and the more and by the way, as I get better with ads, everybody, we're going to get more and more authors as well coming in. We're getting them, and so that's a good thing. And we're also creating our own content. I mean, and so if anyone's ever worried about AI or anything like that, just remember, until the day comes where someone or some government or someone says that we are no longer to sell our services, only AI can sell services, AI will never take over.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to keep selling my services. I'm going to keep rolling Academy Voices. I'm going to keep trying to be a better business owner and marketer. And I'm going to keep being an advocate for, human voices. So yeah, so don't fear about that. I mean, it's just, we just got to be better.
Yeah. And here's, again, my take on AI. If we guys recall, what was it, like 5, 6, maybe somewhere between 5 and 10 years ago, where you had the Midjourney came out, and like the AI generated images that we can make, and photographers were concerned that they were going to lose their jobs. We all know what happened there. A lot of people went out and experimented with this AI technology, and then photographers came back up because everything is just, it's uncanny, right? As Caesar always says, it's somewhere in the uncanny valley. It's the same thing with voice actors right now. There's a lot of clients that are out there experimenting with the lower level stuff with this technology, but at the same time, I still have a lot of clients that have maybe a year ago said, hey, this client wants to use AI, whatever. They came back because guess what? The AI voice sucked.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you could just, the best thing that you guys can do is get training, find your own clients. Don't be reliant on platforms. Go out and make connections on social media. Get network, join groups, do all the things that we've always said to do, and just hone your craft. Get better and better at acting, and again, understanding subtext, emotional deliveries, all of the things that make us human.
Well, and I'm going to put this out there because I firmly believe it, right? Being in our group, being a part of VO Journey Academy will also help alleviate, I believe it'll alleviate that fear you have of AI and you have of not being able to find a place to get work. Yeah. Because the point, we've worked so hard I think, and it's working to build a place where you can breathe a sigh of relief. You can go, you can get work somewhere. I mean, no other place does that. I mean, there is no other place that does that, literally. And when I say no other academy, no other school does that, I mean it. There's no other school that has what we have.
Mm-hmm.
I really, there is none. I mean, there's some schools that we have a roster you could put your name on, but that's not, there's not actual work going through every single day and people making money. I mean, I told you we have a lot. I mean, there's almost $6,000 going out this month and royalties. I mean, it's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, but Anthony doesn't talk about it enough, and I know I do, but not only does our academy offer what no one else does, but it's also not even close to the price point that we do. Because we understand, especially when you're getting started out, do I allocate this money to training? Do I look at equipment? I mean, it's overwhelming. So we tried to keep the price point in a place that's manageable for ongoing training to get you to that place.
Yeah. And I think going back now to the bookings. So part of being part of doing a consistent thing too is finding all of these things I listed. Think of them all as like, fishing rods, and you're throwing them into the water, right? And you're fishing, and you've got a ton of fishing rods. The more fishing rods you put in the water, the more chances you are to get fish. And then when you find the hole that's working, I'm trying to stay with this analogy here. When you find the fishing hole that's working, right? That's a hole that you use. That doesn't mean you don't search for more, but you use a hole, and now you realize you've got a fishing hole. And I think that this is a perfect thing, because I think I saw Ryan again saying he's getting work in certain platforms and not work on other platforms. That's because, right, there are going to be some platforms that work for you. Great, you're getting work there. Wonderful. Now let's go find another one. And let's go find another one. And let's go find another one, because the more that you find, right, the more safely you are. One thing that I think is also extremely important is something that we're doing tonight in a webinar. As we're talking about, financial security as a voice actor. How are we being, how are you also planning to be financially secure? And it's interesting because we've not had very many people sign up. And I think I know why. And I think the reason is because it's probably hard for many of us to even think about saving or investing or building a retirement when we're trying to get our first job. Yeah. Or we're trying to figure out, how do I, get this mouth noise out of my audio? I mean, and I get it, but I wish early on someone had said to me, I wish I had planned differently early on, because, you know what I mean? I would be so much further along now. And even if it's simply taking a couple of dollars, I know this seems so elementary, but I would ask everybody listening, if you actually do this, even if it's taking a couple of dollars every month, $10 every day, and switching it over to a savings account. Even if you do that, right? And your businesses can have savings accounts. So your business can have a savings account, because we are voice actors. We're not paycheck by month people. So there's going to be some months where you're going to make more money, some months where you make less money. There's, some months feast or famine. And in the feasting times, you got to prepare for the famine times. Okay. So, and again, early on, right, Angela, early on, you don't think about any of this. You really don't, because you're like, I can't even, like, how do I even put my profile up here? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I get it, but it's a good thing to have in mind, is to have a plan. So anyways, that's, I think, is an important aspect of all of this too, because as you make money, it will come in. What do you do with it?
Mm-hmm.
You spend it all. Well, you could, but you're trying to build a business, right, that's sustainable. Oh, good.
That's right. Ryan mentioned, we just published number 700 in Academy Voices, 700 audiobooks. Yep.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
700 audiobook. I remember our first audiobook we ever published was Little Red Riding Hood. No, I'm sorry, I messed up. It was Hansel and Gretel. Oh my God.
See, age.
Said it the wrong one. Hansel and Gretel.
Aging.
I know.
Alex says,
the first one.
Competition is my biggest concern. I feel like everything I try thus far is already saturated. I'm paused now for life stuff, but I'll be jumping back in soon. No paid work yet, but I'm determined. And competition has always been a concern for people just getting started out in this industry, myself included, until I realized that voice actors represent the voices of the world. I don't see my colleagues as competition. I see them as options.
Mhm.
There's a voice for everything, and not every voice is going to suit every project. So that's what I would say first. Stop looking at everyone else as competition. They're either full on in it, or they tried it, they dipped their toes in, and they never removed their profiles. So the numbers that you see on some of these platforms is inflated because people were trying their hand at it but never removed their profiles, right? But don't look at your competition. Look at it as competition. Look at it as your brethren are options, right? That'll help switch that mindset.
Well, yeah, I definitely like that. And as an actor, like even especially like a stage actor, your job, and I always just say this too, our job as voice actors, stage actors, screen actors is to audition.
Mm-hmm.
That's your job. And remember, you're auditioning, and it's really been cool. And I wish everyone could experience it in one way or another, because I think it's such a good educational point. So Angela, Gabby, and myself, right? We run Academy Voices, and we essentially are behind the curtain, right? We're like, don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain, but you get to see all of the other sides of, like, as a voice actor, we submit stuff, and then it's like, it's some magic stuff happens, and then we get either called back, or we get a job, or we don't.
Mm-hmm.
But that other side of it is extremely interesting, and I can tell you all from experience, and I asked Angela too, is that when we say these things, it's not just saying them as voice actors. We're saying them as people who cast a lot of stuff, who hire a lot of people. You would be surprised about how much work people get and don't get. And Angela's right, it has based off nothing to do with how good you are as a voice actor. So much of it could be your sound. A lot of it is, are you just what's in our mind at that moment that we're looking for?
Exactly.
Has nothing to do. You be the best voice actor in the world, but that's not exactly the right fit for you that we're looking for. You did nothing wrong. And I do think that that's a trap we fall in. Like, I
Do
did
you think
something
Morgan
wrong.
Freeman gets every job that he applies for?
No. And if
Come
he
on.
did, it would be annoying, because then we'd get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's no point.
But John says, I've never worked so hard on anything in my life, but I know I have more to do. Having a business, I realize if I don't do it, it won't happen. Yes, and that is the I think one of the hardest things for me in the beginning was switching from employee mindset to CEO mindset, right? No one's telling you what to do. It's your business. You call the shots. You have to make everything happen, and that includes marketing, setting aside the savings account, like Anthony said, getting the health insurance. So for those of you that are working VO part-time, use your employment to kind of fund everything as you build it. And then once you get to, what did you tell me, Anthony, about 6 months worth of savings to cover your monthly expenses? And then
I actually think now most of us get told, like, as employees, we need 3 to 6 months. I think for us, we need more like 6 to 12.
Yeah.
I think 6 to 12, but 6 months in the middle is a good thing to shoot for. But 6 to 12 months is better. I personally wanted, at the time when I left, I wanted 6 months. So I had 6 months basically when I left my job to go full time. But I would say now it's more, personally.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't hurt.
No, it never hurts.
Nope. Doesn't hurt at all. Oh, good. So we got Kat signing up for the webinar. Good. Or she signed up for the webinar. That's fantastic. I wanted to ask you, Anthony, because I get this question a lot, and I think I know how you're going to respond, but some of the newer voice actors, let me get this comment off the screen really quick. They're in the same boat that it sounds like a few people in the chat are in, and they're concerned about making it, and if they should just license their voices to be used in AI purposes. How do you feel about that?
So,
big breath.
Well, it's interesting. I've always been a contrarian by nature, I think. Meaning,
really?
like, yes. Who,
Yes.
me? Um, but um, but I remember early on saying when this was coming out, um, and maybe that was, I did invent this term, even though I do believe I invented the term of the hobo fort, but I didn't invent this term, and that is ethical AI, whatever that means. But as this term would come out, what is ethical AI, right? What does that mean? What is the point of that? Which the idea of, well, I did feel early on that if you could, like, if you came to me and be like, hey, listen, there's this model, this AI voice, you can clone your voice, but you own the rights to it. Someone comes to you and they purchase it from you, but you're sleeping, which was a model that Fiverr tried, although it did
Hmm.
fail. But the idea was is that, someone could purchase it from you. You didn't have to be there. You know what I mean? It would say what they wanted, and you got paid. You got paid the royalties. It was yours to license, right? Um, Part of me at the time, I was like, I mean, why would I have a problem with that? That sounds wonderful. As long as I controlled it, no one was taking using my voice for other stuff.
Yes.
I think as that Fiverr thing happened, it did present problems that I didn't think about. That made me rethink, not because I didn't think it was a good idea, but because what happened was Fiverr is there was people taking your voice and typing in all kinds of stuff that you might not want them to use your voice to say.
Hmm.
Now, I guess you could say, hey, listen, this is the script I want to use. You could always go down that rabbit hole, but if that's going to happen, why not just use your regular voice instead of an AI voice?
Hmm.
So, like, because then there's no really time save unless it's a long piece.
Right.
Then the AI voice sucks. So, early on, I was like, it could be cool. And I still think that's what a lot of people are doing with 11 Labs. There are a lot of people who go on there and they get their voice on there and they license it and they still get paid a commission or royalty based off of people using their voice.
Yeah.
However, I will say it is not part of my plan, and I don't plan to do it because I've always looked at least not right now, I've always looked at my voice as long as I don't sell my voice, unless they steal it from me, it will always be mine.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel. But I'm not I've always been one of these people who are like, well, there's always another
Hmm.
reason that could pop up that would make it make sense. Do you know what I mean?
My two main concerns with that are lack of consent, like you just mentioned.
Right.
Like I have no control over what
Right.
my voice says or does or where it goes or what, you know what I mean, what kind of outcome. I don't like it, makes me feel oogie.
Right.
The second thing is sort of piggybacks off the first. What happens if the company that I licensed it to exchanges hands or partners or ownership at some point? Just like what happened with, I think it was Bev Standing on her TikTok, the very first TikTok voice was stolen, or actually not stolen, but it was, she sold her voice to a certain company. That company sold those rights to another company, and somehow it ended up being the TikTok voice. That is another thing that I'm concerned about. On the same thing, because then I have no idea where my voice is going, what it's saying, all the things. So, I mean, there's so many little things in there that just I don't like. But as we always say, it's your business. You do with it what you want to. But that's my stance on it.
Yeah, yes. And that was and again, that's why I personally don't do it. I just don't do it. I know many voice actors who have done it or who have tried their hand at it and have tried it. Here's the funny thing though, they're not getting any work. So, it's the same old, whether it's your voice or an AI of your voice, you still got to get work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And why then use AI? Right? You might as well just use your voice instead of splitting it with someone else.
Yeah,
Um,
Rachel on Instagram said the sound of a voice is only a tiny amount of voice acting work, though. The robot doing the acting doesn't sit right. That's the human part, not necessarily the voice sound. Yeah.
a big thing that I talk about, we have voice acting 201 today. Big thing we're talking about is I don't know why I like the number three, but there's the three-part system I put together, right? And one of the first part is opinion. Right? As an actor, you have to have an opinion. You have to have an opinion about, well, shoot, you gotta have an opinion about everything. That's your job. Job is to have an opinion. It's not the directions that you're given. You're given directions. Like the directions could be, we want you to be excited but serious. We want you to be fun but sad. All right, those funny directions we get. That's not an opinion. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
part of this is creating your opinion. And, at this point, AIs, they don't have opinions. I mean, that's not what they're built to do. So our job, is to be human. And so we talk about that in voice acting, and that separates you, because here's one thing that you have to think about with AI as well. Look at all of the different things that we do and how long and how much modeling, because they're still doing it. I still get hounded. I can tell you how many times people have actually, I've gotten about at least 20, Angela. I've gotten about 20 emails from different companies wanting to buy our voices from Academy Voices. All right. One, it's funny that they think, A, that I would ever do that, or B, that I have the right to do that. But anyways, you know what I mean? But because people they still need modeling. So we do so much. And what about in a couple years when when trends change, the way we speak changes, and I have to model all over again. So I mean, sorry, I wasn't looking.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Well, Paul was making a great point about, was it Paul? Yeah, it was Paul. Paul, in networking, I've seen more and more of our members out in the world making connections at conventions, and I'm so proud of all of you. I mean, that's one of the best things you could do. Take some business cards with you, shake some hands, kiss some babies,
That's
make some
great.
connections. That's fantastic.
And you never know when that pays off. I mean, in the
Right.
craziest of places.
Texas Gene wants to know, is Fiverr still a viable income lane for a new voice actor? I haven't seen it. Well, most of the tutorials on my channel and Anthony's channel are still what's the word? They're still good. I can't
They're
think
still
of
good.
the word.
They're still good.
But
Yeah.
Fiverr's one stream.
Yeah.
One. Don't make it your only. You have to have multiple streams of income for any business, really.
Yeah, I think the appeal of Fiverr has always been, I go to bed and I wake up and I got a job.
Yeah.
Right? Fiverr markets it for me. And then I mean that's like, and let me say this. There is no other website out there like Fiverr that does something like that just doesn't exist. And you're kind of seeing what happens after a while because it ends up cannibalizing itself. However, you probably are not seeing a lot of tutorials, because I just got another notification. Fiverr is changing. They're changing stuff. It seems like every other month.
All the time.
They are just changing stuff left and right. And I just saw something where they're doing AI descriptions. Did you see that? They enrolled me automatically without asking me into some beta program where they are using AI descriptions for some crap. Like when they promote you, they're using AI descriptions or some crap like this. I'm like, what the hell is it? It's just, there's just so much, they're doing so much changing of stuff constantly that it's hard to, say, hey, this is the way this looks right now. This is the way you do this. But the basis of everything stays the same. I mean, or at least it's the same in general. It just doesn't look the same at all. And they just constantly changing stuff. So that's probably why you don't see a lot. And some people are probably very angry with Fiverr. You know what I mean? Because Fiverr, if you look at their internal, because remember, it's a publicly traded company. So you get to look at their stuff. It's got to be public. And a lot of their internal, documents for investors show that one of their big pushes is to get more money from us, the creators on the website, through ads and through all of this stuff, which we know, if you've run ads, you know what I mean, through their big program is right through there. I mean, it costs more than members of voices.com a year to be a part of their Seller Plus program. Yeah. Right? They just charge monthly, but if you add it up for the year, it's more. It's like $600 or something. So like, it's changing rapidly. But I can tell you this, I keep getting people still offering. I still keep getting work through Fiverr, so it's not like it's not there. Yeah. And it's very viable. But it just can't be your only place, is what Angela's saying.
Yeah, one stream of income.
But one thing it does do too is it forces you to put stuff together. which is another reason why I like some of this space, right? It forces you to get a headshot, or you should. It forces you to start to put demos together. It forces you to put a profile together. It forces you to start to think about selling your services, right? And how people are expecting to see them sold online.
Yeah.
Right. In one way, right? I mean, that's a very valuable tool because you have to learn how to sell online.
Fiverr is what pushed me into creating a rate sheet for myself. Because Anthony has said this a long time ago, and I took it to heart. Your rate should be your rate across platforms, if you have control over your rate on a platform. Some platforms charge what they charge, and you have to adhere to it.
Yes.
But making a rate sheet for yourself and then keeping your pricing consistent across platforms is something you should really do, because you don't want to upset anybody inadvertently if they find you on two different platforms and your pricing is completely different. But Fiverr is
that's what happened to me, right? That was what happened to me. And I had I just started, and I had this price on Fiverr, and then someone emailed me and asked me for my pricing of something. So where did I go? Because at the time I hadn't created our VO journey rate guide. So I went to I went
GVAA?
to GVAA's rate guide. So here I am offering something for like $15 on Fiverr and quoting them like $600 or whatever. And they come back and they literally tell me back, "You're a hypocrite. I'm not kidding you. And we found you're charging this on Fiverr." I had no idea they'd found me on Fiverr. But apparently what they were doing was they found me on Fiverr, and then they didn't want to work through Fiverr. So they found me and contacted me. Right. Which happens. And, I just learned a very valuable lesson there. I decided to be like Apple, charge the same no matter where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you never have to worry about it.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. But where do they sign up for the webinar, Anthony?
I was trying to get on to put the link on.
Yeah, you can't do links on. It filters them.
Oh,
just tell them where to go.
Oh, yeah. So you're going to go to, well, that's the whole point, is without the link. I'm going to get there. You know what I'll do? I'll put it on, I'll go to vojourney.com, and on the front page, probably should have got it. I usually put it on there, but I didn't this time because I did it internally for the day coming back.
We'll allow you to be human, Anthony. We know you've got your finger in 10,000 things every day.
That's it. That should be and I would say for us, so just real quick, so in about 30 minutes to an hour, it will be up on a VO's Journey, the front page there. VOsJourney.com. Okay.
VOsJourney.com.
www.avosj. You know what's funny? When I go to like get help for the website, they're always like, Avos.
What's an Avos?
Avos. What is it? I was like, why did I name it this? Yeah, a VO's Journey. If you're in VOJ, I mean, it's right in the, right there. I'll put it in there.
Is it in the Discord somewhere?
Yeah, I just put it in the Discord. I just put it back in the Discord right now.
There you go. If you're a member, go to Discord. It's there. That'll make it easy.
I mean, I've sent out like 7 emails to all my email list. But if you're not on the email list, you can get it. So it'll be on the front page of that as well. But what was
Tiger Lily? I think we're I think we're lucky that Caesar's not here. Where is Caesar? Caesar hasn't been in the chat. Yeah, we're not. But we're not for sale.
Not feeling good off and on, right?
That's true. Yeah. But listen to Lisa. Lisa's got a great comment. Gently smush the like button, please. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. There we go. Paul says, and learning, getting inspiration from other narrators is the best. So I highly recommend a VO's Journey if you can, for the connections alone. And even if you don't join an academy, a training program, something, at the very least, join a voiceover community, like on Facebook, or if you find one on social media somewhere, because that is one of the best moves that you can make, to learn the lingo, to ask the questions. And there is no such thing as a green question, I'm a newbie question, or this is too dumb to ask. It's not. Trust me, it's not. Ask the questions. It's why we do these video lives, is to answer those questions for you, to keep you moving forward.
Absolutely. And I do think I love someone comes to us. I think one thing that I love about where we are now, part of VO's journey, where we are as teachers too. Like if someone comes to us, we can walk you through literally whether you if you have nothing to getting work and getting booked regularly, we can show you. And I think that what I'm always interested in is the decisions people make, what paths they decide to take based off of, the path that we show. And one thing I know plays a big part is, management, time management.
Mm,
And I think that that is it's another one of those things, just like a financial investment, it doesn't sound very exciting, but it means the world. I mean, because you just mentioned about your hand and so many things. I mean, like there's literally not enough time to do all the things we need to do. There isn't, but we have to
mm.
find a way to manage our time so that you get the most bang for your buck. All right. And there's certain things you have to do every single day and things that, you need to do, but aren't as important. So that's a big one, time management, wouldn't you say? I mean, knowing what you
Oh,
have
for
to do
sure.
and what can be put off.
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay, we got about 10 minutes left. Let's get a couple questions, and these are good ones. How do you know when it's time to start raising your rates?
Mm. Um, Everyone has a different view on this. I always had a very particular view because I love economics. I was always supply and demand. So I
Same,
decided I would always raise my rates if there was too much work and I couldn't get it all done, or I was just
same.
super busy. So, you know what I mean? Like I always, if I'm just sitting around twiddling my thumbs, I don't believe it's time to raise my rates.
Right. You will know when you're just swamped with work
Right.
that it's time to raise your rates.
Yep.
Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan wants to know, is royalty payment worth it? It
Oh
can
my
be.
gosh. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It can, yes, it can be. I remember way back when, do you remember when Mike Delgadio? Um
Mm-hmm.
I started in royalty share when I first started, and I loved the idea of royalty share. And I got into some great stuff, and I was making good money. And then Mike comes out with this video how royalty share, you shouldn't do royalty share, but he cited a 13-hour
Oh, that's,
book
yeah.
for royalty share and that it wasn't worth it. And then he cited the book, and the sales rank and everything were just horrendous. And he was absolutely right. That particular situation, that
Mm-hmm.
was not a good chance to take. Because remember, what royalty share is you're taking a chance. You're spreading out the risk, if you will, okay, with the author or the producer. But so what I did was I would do shorter ones. Do you know what I mean? I would do shorter ones. But as we've built Academy Voices, you know what I mean? We've shared that risk in building this with all our community and voice actors through royalties. And I told you how much money that we're sending out. And, that there is money to be made. It's just, sometimes there are some projects that I would not do. And there's other projects I would do immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I think royalty payment, just like you said, is worth it in some cases.
And I do have videos here on my channel where I tell you how to or what to look for when you're looking at listings to choose royalty payment, or like which books to audition for when it comes to royalty share. And I
Yes.
think Anthony does too.
Yes.
But yeah, there's definitely
Absolutely.
some things you want to look
Oh,
for.
and one more thing about this, and that's just right over this. Please, if you are sitting there again, doing not getting any work, twiddling your thumbs, waiting for something, there is no reason not to do it.
Yeah.
Right? There's no
Yeah.
reason not to do it. I mean, it's work,
It's
and
practice even. I mean,
right,
at the very
right.
least.
There's no reason not to do it.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Oh,
hurt you.
Caesar's going through a tropical storm. Oh boy.
Mm. Mm-mm.
John says, under the new ACX system, royalty shares should be a little bit more lucrative. It depends on the kinds of books are popular and how they are marketed. Yeah, ACX made some changes, a few changes that were really impacting not only narrators but authors as well, which is another reason why we're trying to spread the word about Academy Voices.
Right.
Academy Voices, again, is our audiobook production company. There's a lot of authors that are losing their spot on Audible because Audible's AI flagged something, in their canon of work, in their library of work, and then
And
booted
even if it
all of
wasn't
them.
AI, they can't.
Yeah.
They offer no. You can't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Just like YouTube. I mean, sometimes it's a mess. You can't get a hold of anybody.
Yeah.
So if they're wrong, you're still screwed.
And to John's point, it's not so much like how many books are sold. It's now like how long do they listen is to how they determine how they pay you.
Right. And this is, I will say, and not to defend them because everybody, Angela, especially my team, knows how my feelings about Amazon are, because they take so much. They take more from us than anyone else,
Yeah.
from the voice actors. But this is not a model that other people don't use. Like, for example, Spotify, a lot of these other places, they use a model of how much is listened to. So it's basically like how many minutes, and the KDB, like in Kindle Unlimited, if you read the books, it's how many pages are read. Right. So like if you read one page, you're not in it. But if you read, if it's 100,000 words and they read all those pages, you're going to make a lot more money than you would. So yes, same thing with on Spotify. If you listen for X amount of time, you make more money. Right. But what I don't like about Amazon is because it's Amazon and they have to go that extra mile that makes them more money and screws us over, which is on most of the platforms. If you listen to a certain point, they give you the full credit. On Amazon, they don't do that. And I hate that they squeeze every little penny out of you. Right. And that just bothers the snot out of me. Anyways. So yeah, there you go.
Okay, really quick. At your Anthony, Matthew said, should he try the accent for an audition per the author's request? I mean, do you want the job?
Give it a shot. What's
Give it
the
a
worst
shot.
thing they can do? You never hear from them for that.
Yeah.
I mean, who cares? Go for it.
Yeah, it is. I've had clients on YouTube that have been appealing. Anthony too, because it's everywhere.
Our voice actors, we were making over $1,000 a month. We were getting up to a point we had 40,000 subscribers, and they said all of our voices were AI. I mean, clearly none of our stuff is AI, and they banned us, and then they banned my VO's journey.
Yeah,
because it was
linked.
Because I'm the same person who does Academy Voices, and
same email.
I could not ever get it, but they claim I'll never be able to get it back. I got to use it. I guess I got to use a different computer and a different IP address and everything.
So dumb.
To start again or something else.
Yes,
yeah, right.
Go audition, Ryan. Let's see. Oh, Obi-Wan said, suggested my author contact Academy Voices. I hope he does. I do too. Almost every author who reaches out to me and says, hey, we're going to produce an audiobook, them and myself. But then they're like, okay, well, which distributor should I take it to? And they go, but how does ACI? And then I tell them the same thing I'm telling you guys. And I said, I direct them to Academy Voices.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And by the way, this is just so you know, this is what we do. We've worked with a lot of authors that have come from narrators who come and use us. We're starting to get more authors on our own, but a lot of the early authors, a lot of stuff has all come over, and we're very good at it. So we're very helpful and answer all their questions. And also, if you have an existing agreement with an author, I'm very respectful of that agreement. And you know what I mean? And we find a way to, kind of keep it the way it is for you, because some authors and narrators have an agreement. You know what I mean? And we're because we just want to get you guys more room to grow. So the point is we spread out the distribution to 40 different plus retailers, including libraries and stuff. And that's the point where if you just go to ACX, it just goes through Amazon. But we also do Amazon plus 40 others.
There was a question that we skipped over that I wanted to hit just really quick before we button this up. But Matthew is concerned about AI progressing faster and faster, and that he was going to stay too far behind.
Hoping that's not true, but
change is always going to be the constant. I mean, there's one thing that you have to just learn to adapt to, and that's change. But I can tell you just what we said in the very beginning. It's a form of comparisonitis, but I understand the AI concern, but just do everything that we mentioned today. Get some training, get into a community, learn how to find the work, learn what is important in your performance, and you'll be fine.
I will say, Matt, and I will say Matthew too. I think Angela's spot on with this, because if you are out there and there is a lot of also other people who are doomsday sayers.
Yeah.
Right, who are just, bless their hearts, they're just negative Nellies, and that's kind of their default. And Angela and I are very big proponents of positivity. You have to be positive, and that also means who you are around. So there's a lot of communities and there's a lot of stuff out there that you can get into that will just make you feel like it's the end of the world.
Yes.
And that's just not the case at all.
Yeah.
We've proven that today, because we are all still working voice actors on top of doing all the things that we're doing.
Yeah.
That's another thing, right? We're booking work, we're helping people book work. And by the way, another thing too is, you guys realize, there's more plans for Academy Voices. Like, we will one day have our own, just like Audible has its own app, we will have our own app. So people will be able to sign up for our stuff. There's no one who can stop that.
Yep.
Right? And so that's work. So anyways, there's
not only that, but full cast, immersive, dramatized audiobooks, print at some point.
We can do whatever we want.
Yes. Yes, we're going to do it all at some point.
And people like it because you're a good performer, you have a good product. That doesn't change. No matter how much AI runs around, that will never change.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Sage just signed up for the webinar. Good.
Yay!
Good. So they're finding your link. That's
good.
Perfect.
Good,
awesome.
good. Wonderful.
All right. Well, Anthony, anything that you wanted to add?
No, I think that, I just think that in the end, I think personally, this is an amazing time to become a voice actor. And the reason why is because we didn't touch enough into it, or I would have liked more, because we could talk about this forever. But there's such an opportunity now to build a brand of yourself, a person. We talked about authenticity and these things. There's so much more ability for free to do this than there ever has been in the history of humanity.
Yeah.
All right. We don't have to pay TV channels in order to build a reputation and to build an actual visual representation of us. Now we can do it for free on TikTok and stuff. We can meet the people directly we're trying to work with for free. Yeah. All right. I mean, it's an incredible time to do this. And those people want to work with people. So I think this is a wonderful time to join as a voice actor. And the tools at our fingertips are more than ever. So don't forget, we have all these tools. We have a lot of tools too that we can use.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Exciting. Yes. And listen to Sage. Sage has sage advice. Get it? See what I did there?
Very nice.
Click that like button. Do all the things. See all the YouTubey things. But other than that, I will see
thanks
you guys
for having me, Angela.
Later this week. Yeah, thanks, Anthony, for coming. I mean, this is a great discussion.
Yes.
Hope it answers some questions for you guys. We had a lot of people watching, so I know we had a lot of interest in this topic. So we might have to come back and
absolutely
do another one.
And if you guys are interested, like we're live tomorrow, but Angela, Gabby, myself, we go live every Thursday, talk about Academy Voices.
Yep. You can watch it on Anthony's channel and my channel too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. See you guys later. Thanks, Anthony.
Bye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.